In today's video, we wrap up our NHL GM report card series with the Team 32, which ended up being the Minnesota Wild. We'll examine the trades, the signings, and grade the work of GM Bill Guerin coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned today, we are completing our GM report card series. This is the last of the bunch, 32 of 32, and we're grading the work of General Manager Bill Guerin. We're going to look at the trades that were made, the signings that were made, examine the additions, subtractions, and all the moves here, and grade the work of GM Bill Guerin. And to be honest, for Minnesota, it was a relatively quiet offseason. They find themselves with about $750,000 in cap space. They only made a couple of minor deals, a few free agent signings, but nothing too substantial. There was lots of speculation around a few trades that were being heavily considered, but never materialized. So looking at the trades first, like I said, nothing real major. They traded Adam Beckman to New Jersey for Graham Clark, and two young players getting a fresh start for each other in new spots. And they traded Vinny Lettieri to Boston for Jacob Lauko. So again, nothing too crazy. I have no problem with either trade. Just getting some guys some fresh starts and bringing in a new body on the other side. Internally, they signed Marc-Andre Fleury for one last year. That was a bit of a surprise. We were kind of under the impression that Fleury was likely done, but confirmed that he wants to do one last year. 1 year, $2.5 million. I have no problem with that contract. They did do a fairly substantial extension for Jacob Middleton. Middleton gets a 4-year deal at $4.35 million. I know Minnesota's really liked his game since he's arrived there a few years ago. The contract seems relatively fair for what he provides them, the minutes he plays, and all of that. So again, I don't have any real concerns with the Middleton extension. But for somebody who's going to play second pair minutes and certainly play a physical, rougher style of game, he'll earn his money for sure. Of course, the biggest though of all the bunch here, Brock Faber signs a monster extension, 8 years at $8.5 million per season. Faber, right out of the gates last year, jumped up to being the team's top defenseman. Didn't help matters that Captain Jared Spurgeon obviously was out a substantial period of time, but Faber really took the reins and really became the team's top body from the back end for sure. Obviously, Brock Faber was a player that was competing right with Connor Bedard right to the bitter end, trying to see if he could be a rookie of the year, and in some people's eyes he was. He did get a fair bit of vote love, you could say, but did come up short, and Bedard won the award. But $8.5 million for 8 years certainly shows a long-term commitment, and I think over time, if he keeps progressing the way that he has in his short career so far, then I think we're going to see this contract be very, very valuable and be very much team-friendly, pretty quick. I think Faber's a brilliant young defenseman that can log big minutes and play in all situations for Minnesota, and they are absolutely going to love this guy long term. Of course, after acquiring him, they signed Graham Clark to a 1-year deal at $800,000 as well. So the main two things, Middleton and Faber's extensions, and of course brought back Fleury. Externally, they find Yakov Trenin on the free agent market after finishing up with the Avalanche. He gets a 4-year deal at $3.5 million. Now, for Trenin, he's somebody who's going to play in the bottom six, you would think. That is a lot of term and a lot of money for somebody who's going to be in those roles. I like Trenin's game. By looking at their roster, long term, throughout the contract, maybe he moves up. Maybe he has a chance to play top six. I just don't know that he's really demonstrated that he's offensive enough to really grab one of those roles. But for that kind of money, you would hope you get more than a fourth line player. And looking at everything, I wonder if could he maybe be the 3C? It seems like he's played a variety of spots as a forward. I wonder where they'll put him. Devin Shore signs 1 year league minimum. Reese Johnson 1 year league minimum, and Brendan Gaunce 2 years league minimum. most likely all three of those players will likely end up on waivers and probably find themselves going to the American Hockey League. Looking at how the lineup's likely going to look, they're, in the top 6, you're going to obviously have Rossi, Kaprizov, Zuccarello, Eriksson Ek, Boldy, maybe Johansson, or is Ryan Hartman maybe going to jump up there? I mean, Hartman can play center. He can play wing as well. I wonder. They have some options here with this lineup. I don't know that Marcus Johansson is really a top 6 forward anymore. So, in all honesty, I wonder if they would maybe consider moving Hartman up. That could be an option, but certainly Rossi and Eriksson Ek will be the centers options that I think would come first. But we'll see. I mean, obviously you get Marcus Foligno, then you get Trenin, Lauko, Freddie Gaudreau, Kuznetsov as well. I know he's somebody that they're hoping will grab a top 9 spot, so we'll see how things work out for him as well. But all in all, for the most part here, Lauko will come in as a new face and grab most likely a 4th line spot in Trenin. I'm hoping he gets at least 3rd line role with the money he's being paid. If he ends up on the 4th line, that contract's not going to look so good. So we'll see. On the back end, you got Brodin, Faber, Middleton, Spurgeon. And then, of course, your third pair is going to likely be Bogosian on the right with either Chisholm or Merrill on the left. So nothing too really all that different from last year when it comes to Minnesota's blue line. So summarizing the additions and subtractions coming in, Yakov Trenin, Devin Shore, Reese Johnson, Brendan Gaunce, Jacob Laukow, Graham Clark. I mean, nothing real crazy there. I mean, Trenin's the best of that bunch. He'll be the only one that, him and Laukow likely gets the regular spots. Going out, we get Alex Goligoski retired. Vinny Lettieri gets traded. Beckman's traded. Mason Shaw leaves via free agency, and Jake Lucchini as well. So all in all, like I said, fairly quiet. Not a lot of movement. The back end is largely the same. And up front, there's not much change really there either. With a couple of bottom 6 guys coming in. So, I guess Bill Guerin's grade to me is not going to be great. I'm giving him a C-. He had a very quiet offseason. I know part of it is because of the cap space, but they also put themselves in that predicament as well. There was lots of rumors about Rossi maybe being moved, Gustafsson maybe being moved, no action there. So I said lots of rumors, lots of talk, but nothing that happened. They had the 3rd worst goals saved above expected, but there are no significant changes between the goaltending and the D-core. That to me is an alarming stat in the entire league. So there's only 2 teams that were worse, which means they were 30th. So goals saved above expected. So the goaltenders did not have great years. There was a lot of talk Gustafsson could move, and then maybe we'd see Fleury with Jesper Wallstedt. Obviously, I understand with it being Fleury's last year, Gustafsson being younger, maybe you don't rush to move off him too quickly. Yes, Wallsted's ready, but Fleury's only got 1 year left. Maybe you try to stick it out, and then the year after, maybe it's Gustafsson and Wallstedt, or maybe it's Wallstedt and somebody else. If Gustafsson's play does not improve back closer to where it was in the beginning when he first arrived in Minnesota. That was the problem in Ottawa, too. He had stretches where he looked brilliant, and he had stretches where he was like, is he an NHL goalie? You had to question it. So, all in all, that goaltending tandem did not do well, and it's being brought back the same. Like I said, the back end's pretty well the same as well, except for Spurgeon hopefully getting more games in. And the forward group largely the same with a couple of bottom 6ers. So to me, I just would have liked to have seen a little bit more change for Minnesota. Obviously, I just don't think they can really move up in the standings and improve themselves with what's been done here. Looking at the teams ahead of them in the Central from last year and how everything went, can they move up any? I don't know that they can. It's going to be really tough. So like I said, all in all, I'm giving Bill Guerin a C-. That'll wrap up, obviously, the GM report cards here. But it's just too quiet for me. They had some serious issues last year that were not addressed. I know they made the coaching change partway through the year. But it's going to take more, I think, than the internal candidates that are there to make this team better and have a better shot at getting back to playoffs and having more success. So let me know your thoughts on the offseason of the Minnesota Wild and Bill Guerin. How would you grade his work with the trades, the signings? Did they really make this team better? Or, are they in danger of really starting to slip and go backwards instead of forwards and maybe be in danger of missing out here on the playoffs? And hard to say when they can get back in because a lot of teams around them are improving and they didn't. So let me know what you think in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.